G'day humans, Chris Stead here. Got a small little review for you today. It's the new smart speaker from Amazon, joining their pretty large catalogue of smart speakers they've got now. This is the Echo Pop. Now this is coming in at the lowest end of that catalogue of smart speakers. This is very much entry level at $79 here in Australia. I think it's around $40 in the USA. So quite affordable, that's for sure. Now, obviously as part of that, you're getting a kind of a stripped down design, but also kind of a stripped down intent too. So speaking to Amazon, they informed me that their position for this speaker was something that could basically be easy and affordable for parents to put in a second room. So their goal here is to get Alexa into every room in the house, specifically kids' rooms, with a device like this. And hence you've got this kind of stripped back system at an affordable price, which effectively allows you to access Alexa no matter where you are. Actually, before I dive into the design, I should probably point out that, given the audience they're going for here, there's a couple of different color options. So this is charcoal, I think it's glacier white, so you got like those two generic ones you might expect. But there's also a teal and a lavender bloom as well. So a bit of variation there for those who, if you're trying to buy for a kid, maybe a boy or a girl, you might go for those colored options. On top of that, there are 7 sleeve accessories that you can buy, silicone sleeves, to even customize it a little bit more. One of those is the glow in the dark option, which I think is pretty cool. I know my youngest would really, really like that. So that is available as well, with a bunch of other accessories, including a battery base, so it becomes portable, USB charging base, a wall mount as well, so you can wall mount it. There's a few other accessories you can get beyond this kind of $79 entry point level of just the speaker itself. Now, when we look into the actual design of the system, as you can see, if you're familiar with the Echo Dot, which is kind of the model up from this, it's got a much more spherical design with a bit more of a base on it. This one is kind of like the half cut, samurai cut, John Wick cut across the top there. But it's still got a really sturdy base on the bottom. It's quite stable, and even when you turn it right up, the volume up to maximum, you don't find this thing kind of jittering around on your bedside table or anything like that. On the top, you've got a up volume and a down volume, as well as a mic off, so you can just switch the mic off if you want some privacy from Alexa. That's easy to do. And you've got this color bar across the top as well. Now, this color bar stays neutral, like it's off like this, unless it's doing something. Now, things that it might do include glowing yellow, which means you've got a notification that it wants you to know about. If it's glowing orange, that means it's ready for setup, so you should only get that once, or when you power off, the power goes on and off. Otherwise, it just sits here until you say, "Hey, Alexa," and then it becomes blue. And that's quite bright. And that's one of the kind of design flaws for me, is that in a dark room at night time, if you're trying to say something to Alexa, or it wants to let you know there's a notification happening, it's quite bright. And I couldn't find a way to actually dim that brightness down, and it certainly didn't adapt to the time of day and do it itself, which I think it should. It should nowadays, right? AI, Amazon, blah, blah, blah. It should be able to go, hey, you know what, it's 11 o'clock at night. He probably doesn't want it blasting bright blue light. There was something I found in the Alexa app that suggested that you could change the dimness of the brightness of the LED light, but it didn't actually have an effect. So I suspect that's probably more related to some of the other Show devices, or the Echo devices, which have a bit more going on, including a clock at the front. Now, going on onto the clock, there is no clock on this. That's what you will get if you get the Echo Dot. You do get a clock that you can see, so it's a bit more of that classic bedside table radio clock experience. So you do get that if you get the Echo Dot. You don't get the clock with this. And you know what? I don't really know why. I think it's a bit of a shame that it doesn't have the clock in this. It'd be nice. You can just say, "Hey Alexa, what's the time?" And it will tell you the time. It'll read that out nice and loud for you. But sometimes the clock's something you just want to be able to glance at, so I feel like that was a miss. Also a miss for me is the fact that it's only chargeable by a power block, so there isn't just USB-C charging. Now, I would have thought USB-C would be far friendlier in 2023 for the vast majority of users, to the point where they sell as an accessory a USB-C charging dock. So they're obviously aware of it. A dock that allows you to charge by USB. So why not just have it built in to begin with? And talking of the charging block itself, this is the one that came with the black charcoal colored Echo Pop. And as you can see, it's that, not even white, it's that really crappy office dirty grey white cable thing. It's actually the same as what you see in the Echo Shows. And I feel like that is a bit of a swing and a miss, because really, if you're going to go to the effort of putting in these colors and having that available for this demographic, then you might as well do it to the cable as well, because you're going to be able to see the cable quite clearly as it runs off your bedside table, or you even happen to mount it somewhere, you're definitely going to see it running down the wall somewhere. So that's a bit of a swing and a miss. But, you know, am I being overly critical at $79? Potentially. Otherwise, it's quite a simple and easy design. Now, going on to the performance here, you've got, I believe, a 1.95 inch front-facing directional speaker on this bad boy. Now, that is what I assume, because they don't actually advertise the speaker size on this, but I believe that's what I was told at the meeting from my memories. Now, in terms of the sound quality, I was actually pretty impressed. When you've got the volume really pumped up, it gets a bit muddy. The volume goes way louder than you'd ever need it in a bedroom. Like it does some decent loudness, but once you go up to that kind of higher volume, you definitely lose a bit in the way of clarity between the different instruments and the sounds that you're listening to. So that's a bit of a thing to avoid. On that middle volume range though, the clarity is actually much better than I would have expected. Tiny bit tinny at the high range, but not too bad. Surprisingly decent bass, considering there's nothing about this that shouts bass or has nothing here specifically for bass. But as a $79 kind of radio that you'd have on your bedside table, which was far more than a radio, that's really underselling it. But for something like that you'd have sitting on your bedside table, I was actually quite impressed by the sound it could deliver, and think that you're getting pretty good value there actually. Hey Alexa, play something funky on Spotify.
Funk and soul classics from Spotify.
Hey Alexa, turn it down. Hey Alexa, turn it up to the max.
You can't win, so you know you must lose. We know.
I said at the top here that Amazon's huge go with the Echo Pop is to try and make it easier for people to have Alexa access in every room in your house. For me, as a parent of 3 young children, that is about having it in the kids' rooms. I'm not going to go put something super expensive in there, but something like this, honestly, when I was a kid, this would have been magic, because through it, I can just, you know, with simple voice commands, I can easily just access digital radio, access my podcasts, access Spotify, Amazon Music, all these types of things easily, and just have access to this music that as a kid I never got anyway. For me, it was about like trying to get some weird antenna cable and put it next to a metal lamp so I could just try and get enough reception to get, you know, the radio. Those days are long gone. So this is like, I think it's really cool from that aspect. It's really cool that the kids can take some sort of ownership in their routines as well, being able to kind of set their own alarms, being able to, just through voice, being able to ask Alexa to put things in the calendar or read the calendar or ask what the weather's like, those types of things. Do I need a jumper? All that kind of stuff. It also allows me as a parent to set routines to get them up at certain amounts of times. And with Alexa for kids, you can kind of really monitor that. There's a fair bit of parental control you can have to make sure that things aren't getting beyond what you're comfortable with. Hey Alexa, what's the time?
It's 2:18 p.m. Have a good Wednesday.
Hey Alexa, what's the weather like tomorrow?
Here's the forecast for tomorrow in Sydney. Look for intermittent clouds with a high of 22 degrees Celsius and a low of 13 degrees.
And so as a means of actually getting Alexa into my kids' rooms, I'm actually pretty stoked with the Echo Pop, because it delivers on that use case, absolutely. And while there's some things it could definitely do better, I'm actually fundamentally excited by the idea that I can, at this price point, fill each of my 3 kids' rooms with something that's going to allow me to take better control in the efficiency of the routines of our life with 3 school kids. So if that's you, then I think the Echo Pop's definitely worth looking at. There's probably not a chunk of variation here between the Echo Pop and the Echo Dot. If you want to spend a few extra tenors, you're going to get the clock and a bit more of a solid device. But you can save a few dollars and actually get this, and you're pretty much going to get what you want anyway, and you're just going to have to ask for the time. And potentially that light glow on the top may be a controller in a future firmware update. We'll have to wait and see on that. Just for those of you who aren't aware, there's also the show range. So I've got one of the shows here. This is the show 5. I think this is a base show. So if you see the Echo shows, this is when you start getting your screen. So that's pretty much the main difference there. Then it becomes bigger and bigger depending on the size of the speaker and the functionality and how it can direction itself and so forth. So that's what you're going to get if you go up to the show model. But for the entry range pop, yeah, I think it's pretty cool and definitely worth considering if you've got a use case like the one I described. Anyway, I'm Chris Stead. Thank you very much for watching. Those are my thoughts on Echo Pop, and until next time, check you later. You.